James Walker had always believed he was living the American dream. A respected architect in Chicago, he had a beautiful wife, Laura, and a cozy home in Lincoln Park. Their marriage, now in its 9th year, seemed unshakable. James was devoted, working long hours to ensure their future was secure, showering Laura with affection whenever he could. He never suspected that beneath her radiant smile lay a secret that would soon shatter his world. For years, their life together had been picture perfect. They had met in college, both ambitious and full of dreams, and their marriage seemed like the natural progression of their lives. James had always seen Laura as his equal, his best friend, and someone he could trust with his entire being. However, in recent months, James began noticing small shifts in Laura's behavior. At first, he dismissed them as a result of stress. She had become more distant, her smile less frequent, her laughter quieter. But the changes were subtle enough for him to ignore. He believed, like many others, that these small cracks in their relationship were just part of life's ebb and flow. But the distance between them continued to grow, and soon James found himself questioning the foundation of their marriage. It started with subtle changes. Laura became distant, her phone never left her hand, and she suddenly had work events she had never mentioned before. James, ever trusting, brushed away his concerns. Perhaps she was just stressed. But then came the whispers of doubt, growing louder with each late night and vague excuse. One evening, while clearing the laundry, James found an unfamiliar cologne on Laura's blouse. It wasn't his. The scent lingered, a mocking presence in their bedroom. His heart pounded, but he forced himself to stay rational. Maybe there was an explanation. He needed proof. James began to pay closer attention to the small things. He would ask about her day, and she would give him vague, hurried answers, often avoiding his gaze. It was as if she was trying to keep something hidden from him. At first, he wanted to believe it was all in his head, but the nagging feeling wouldn't go away. Laura started staying out later on girls' nights or work events, and even when she was home, she often retreated to her phone, her face illuminated by the screen in a way that seemed more like an escape than anything else. He could sense her unease, her avoidance, and like a growing tumor, his suspicions festered, gnawing at him relentlessly. One evening, he decided to confront her directly. As she sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone, he casually asked about her day, hoping to find something to ease his mind. But when Laura looked up, her eyes briefly flicked to the phone, and then back to him, her face betraying a hint of panic. That night, James couldn't sleep. His mind raced, replaying every interaction, every subtle change in her behavior. It was then that he made a decision. He needed to know the truth. Whatever it cost him, he would find out. James hired a private investigator, an action that felt both desperate and necessary. A week later, the PI delivered the evidence. Photos of Laura in the arms of another man, an upscale hotel in downtown Chicago as their meeting place. The man was David Collins, a colleague of hers from work. Betrayal burned in James's chest. He stared at the images, each one another stab to his heart. Laura had lied to him, made a fool of him. She had been seeing David behind his back for months, keeping him in the dark while pretending everything was fine. But he wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. He wanted to make sure that when he did confront her, he would do so with all the facts, every painful detail. He wanted her to know he had seen through her lies, that he had been paying attention all along. But more than anything, James wanted revenge. Instead of an angry confrontation, James decided to make her pay in a way she would never forget. He spent days crafting a meticulous revenge plan, ensuring that when he struck, it would leave Laura broken in the same way she had broken him. First, he moved their finances around, cutting off her access to their joint accounts while making it appear as though nothing had changed. He shifted money from their savings and slowly began siphoning off small amounts that Laura wouldn't notice immediately. She would continue to pay bills, unaware that the financial security she once enjoyed was slipping away. Then, he reached out to David's wife, Allison. The two met in secret, both seething from the betrayal. Together, they devised a way to expose the affair. They needed to make Laura's actions public, to strip away the illusion of her perfect life and expose her for what she truly was. James also began gathering all the evidence he could. He hacked into Laura's phone, retrieved messages and call logs, and even followed her once to confirm the affair was still ongoing. Every piece of information